Today we're talking about teachers in contemporary educational context. But first, we have to know what is a context. Okay, a context is a situation in which something happens, the group of conditions that exist where and when something happens. When you understand the meaning of a context, it's necessary that you have knowledge of context that exists. We have the demographic context. It is related with statistical data, age, gender, and things related with the person in a specific town, institution, and established with a group of people. An example is the Teresa Flor High School has 40% of men and the 60% of students are women. The next is the geographic context. It is completely related with the location. For example, Teresa Flor High School is located in Ceballos Avenue and 5 of June Street. Social context. It involves a lot of characteristics about the person, but in different contexts. For example, we have the home characteristics. It means what the students enjoy doing in his free time, how is the relationship between the family, and things like that. And the school characteristic, it is related with the way in which a student works with the teacher. A student behavioral characteristic is related with the personality of the person to do certain things in different contexts. Next, we have the institutional context. It involves policy, administration, and service. For example, we have the Sevi High School. In this high school, you have to pay to study there, but the institution has a good curriculum, a bilingual curriculum, and he told you that your children could study English and Spanish at the same time, and it's a good thing, and you decide to pay for it. The classroom context. Like the saying says, is related with the classroom, specifically with the environment. The environment could be, for example, the rules and routines that the students have. Also, here we have the teaching work. It means in the way that the teacher decides work with the students. It will be like in an interactive way or like using technological device. It depends totally of the teacher. Finally, when you know what is a context, you need to know what are the teacher's competencies.
Teacher competence are the skill and knowledge that enable a teacher to maximize student learning. Teacher must have expertise in wide ranging. Array the competencies in especially complex environment where hundreds of critical decisions are required each day. Let's continue with the next. Field competence. The field competence are those where the teacher demonstrates their knowledge and studies within a specific field of teaching. The acquisition of more knowledge to be a teacher shows how capable it is. If a teacher grades all the students, he knows about all the specific subjects, and that's an important point of view if we want to be a teacher. The researcher competence, these skills are directly related with the teacher's knowledge of visual or audiovisual technology, in addition to the perfect knowledge of technology tools for the learning of the student. Of course, if we want to be a teacher, it's important to know and learn and search different tools that the students can understand and can learn with that tools. Let's continue with curricular competence. Curricular competence contains the knowledge about curriculum philosophies and skills in curricular development. Of course, the curriculum design, elements of curriculum development, models of curriculum development, selecting and organizing the context, planning to teaching and testing conditions. The curricular competence contains all the knowledge that the teacher has, the ideas that he has, and they want to do. Whatever curricular competence demonstrate that a teacher have to learn more and have to study. It's important if we want to be a teacher, study, and that's all.
I'm going to talk about collateral management. We can define collateral management as all the methods and strategies a teacher uses to ensure that the collateral environment is conducive to meaningful learning for students and even for success in their professional futures. And there are also many aspects that are present in collateral management that should be taken into account. And these aspects can be routines, development of collateral rules, seating arrangements, teacher-student communication, discipline, and many more are all aspects of collateral management, and if executed correctly, will create an effective environment for meaningful student learning. And it's also important for the teacher to be aware for the cognitive, affective, and physiological factors that are present in the student's learning, and that in some cases may be reasons for the student to have learning problems. For example, if we talk about space, we refer to the physical place in which the student's teaching learning process takes place. And here the seating arrangement and the arrangement of the students will mark their possibilities to see the class, to listen, and even to participate in it. We can also talk about discipline, since we know that good behavior facilitates and warrants good behavior, good learning. And it's of great importance to establish limits and rules for students in order to achieve a good development in teaching and learning process. And it's also very important to keep in mind that discipline doesn't go hand in hand with punishment. A good teacher can find the right strategy for students to have a good behavior without the need to apply severe punishment. And some aspects that manage discipline are, for example, teaching students what to do and teach the student to recognize the problem and seek solutions to it. And then we have the lifelong learning competencies, and it's referred to the constant process of learning to improve our skills and competencies throughout our lives. And for personal fulfillment and participation in society and success in the world of work. And lifelong learning is everyone's responsibility. The case of the teachers, it's important that a teacher never stops learning, and that's through the learning process he acquires new strategies. That is that he is trained in the new pedagogies that are emerging in new topics such as technologies, and that they serve him to apply them in the process of teaching his students. And then we have the socio-cultural competencies. And the socio-cultural competencies aim to work for the integral development of each student, and this includes knowledge of the socio-cultural environment of students and teachers, the local, national, and international values, the issues related to democracy and human wealth, the teamwork and collaboration with others, and the social studies. And in other words, they have the knowledge that the teachers and students are different. Each may have their own culture and way of thinking, and this should be respected above all else. And the goal is to create an holistic learning where all students are included without making exceptions for their cultural ideologies or beliefs.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about emotional competences. Okay, the emotional competences are the teacher skills that you can help the students to learn about realness and then learn about how it increases their talents. Also, learning the emotional competences, it could help the student to improve into his emotional field and to be able to acquire an emotional support, yeah, and create a positive fields for learning teaching process. Okay. About the emotional competences, we have the communication competence. Okay, the communication competence that include how you express also in your voice, in your kind of speaking, and in your usual oral body and professional language skills. Okay, communication competences include also the tone of the voice, the signs of the language, and the paralanguage, touch, eye contact, and or also the use of writing according for the kind of communication. Well, and also it is necessary to know about the intrapersonal processing, listening, observing, speaking, and analyzing and evaluation about the communication. Yeah. And the ITC competence, or ICT, according for that you want, is information and communication technologies. In this actually world, we must understand that the information progress can advance a lot of in a lot of years. Also, we have now in this quarantine time the possibility to learn with the outline connections. Okay, I will not talk about how effective or not is it, but we'll talk about how that competence could be improved and could be used in this online live or that online style of life. Okay, I'm talking about the technical equipments for searching, reaching, discovering, and transferring knowledge. Yeah. The technology helps that that we can have the access. It is according for the technology that we'll be able to adapt in ourselves. For example, we now have the opportunity to have a laptop, have a camera, some kind of devices, but in other countries could be more easy or not to use this kind of technology. For that reason, it is ICT competence could be according for how the technologies are manipulating and how we can have the communication skills about with this information. And yeah, that is about ICT competence. Thank you very much for your attention.